play take 2. We just had a bit of action here. I did actually start this process, and then my dog went nuts, and then my son came in. So it was a bit of a disruption, yet we're still good to go again. So today's question is, how do I be free when I'm trapped by my situation? I say this because I just notice there are some people that I'm aware of who feel trapped by their relationship, or trapped by their job, or trapped by their debt, or trapped in some other way. And it builds up until eventually they start doing posts which are kind of insinuating they're contemplating suicide, which is not what you want to see, people that you know having these types of feelings. So, while they may not be able to alleviate their circumstances, how can they have the peace, or how can they have the freedom so they can exist inside of those circumstances but still be in a place of comfort internally? So I'd just like to let's get some information on that today. Alrighty. So I think my dog's settled, and I told my son to not come back in again until I say it's okay. I didn't say it quite as calmly as I just said that, but he got the message. Okay. But he said sorry. He apologised. He heard me talking this like I'm talking now, and he thought I was on the phone because I seemed to be just being sort of conversational. So I hadn't actually started the channel itself, so it's no big loss. Oh yeah, I was a little cranky, but that's okay. Right. So how do I be free when I'm trapped by my situation? Let's see what we got. Greetings, and thank you for the question. How can you be free when you are trapped by the circumstances of your life? Let's start by saying that by nature, by definition, you are a free being. The true essence of who you are is not the mind, the body, the personality, the finite being that you see in the mirror, that you are aware of as you, but instead you are the higher self. You are the energetic. And this energetic is immortal, invulnerable, and infinite. So your very nature is freedom. You are an individuation of the infinite love of the One. And the infinite One is all things. And as it is all things, then the scope of possibility within the One is infinite. And as you are an individuation of the One, you are the One. You are, by nature, infinite. And as an infinite being, you are a being of freedom, because you can be any way that you wish to be. And when we say be, we are talking about the energetic state that you hold. the beingness. So we aren't talking about the external circumstances of your life. Because the external circumstances to your life, when you are at a place of mastery, are irrelevant to your sense of freedom. You can be living a life of great limitation in the physical sense, but yet be the most free being that there is. Because you are an infinite being, then you have no parameters. You have no external boundary. You are an infinite being that it is in a process of infinite expansion. And this process of infinite expansion is the ongoing discovery of your infinity. It is the ongoing realization that you are an individuation of the One, that you are in fact the One. The One experiencing itself from the unique perspective which is you. And this process of discovery is a process of expansion, expanding in to your infinite potential, the realization that you are more and yet more, that you are larger and yet larger, that you are never-ending, that you are infinite. And so when there are no parameters, there are no outer boundaries, then there is no center, because there is no place within infinity which is equidistant from all places. There is no place which could be said in a mathematical sense, in a geographical sense, which is the center. So the center that you choose, the place where you be through your own volition, is not predetermined from a mathematical sense, from a geographical sense, from a physics sense, because this place does not exist. There is no center, which is center by any other reason other than your choice. And so you are free to be centered in whichever way that you choose. You can be centered in love and its derivatives, or you can be centered in anguish, despair, sadness, despondency. This is a choice. It is not the result of circumstances. Now we understand that you may be looking at your life and be saying to us, sure, that's fine for you to say, but we, as in you, are living a life of hardship, living a life where there is suffering, where there is difficulty, where it is so arduous in whichever way that you cannot experience freedom. How can I be free under these circumstances? To that we say, it is your definition of freedom which is the limitation. So, if you are an infinite being, and you, by definition, have no center, then your beingness, your energetic state, is your choice, regardless. regardless of the circumstances of your life, this place where you center yourself, where you decide on your beingness, this is your choice, regardless of the circumstances of your life. We understand that the circumstances of your life create challenge. But the challenge is not suffering. Suffering is your resistance to the circumstances of your life. This is the creation of the suffering, whether it be the sadness, the anguish, the despondency, the depression. This is not coming from the circumstances of your life, but is coming from your resistance to the circumstances of your life. So, for you to transition into freedom, for you to choose a center which is free, which is free of the suffering, then it is essential that you transition to acceptance. Accept that these circumstances in your life are present. It does not mean that you like them. It does not mean that you surrender to never changing or never improving or never living in a different way. It means that you accept that these are the circumstances of your life in this moment, right now. This is how your life looks. And your resistance is not essential. Your resistance is a non-acceptance of self. Because the life that you live is you. You are your life. The manifestation, which is you, is also inclusive of your life. You are the higher self, the energetic, the eternal being, the immortal, invulnerable, infinite being, the individuation of the love of the One. This is who you truly are. You are an infinite energetic, and as such, you have no parameters, you have no borders, and as such, your center is where you choose it to be. So when you resist the circumstances of your life, you are denying the existence of self. You are denying self. You are not accepting self. Because you are this infinite energetic, then the life that you live is a manifestation occurring within this, within the true essence of who you are. You do not reside in the body. The mind, the body, the personality, this conduit, you do not reside inside of this. Instead, it is a manifestation inside of you, in the true energetic of who you are. This is a manifestation occurring within that. The life you live is also a manifestation occurring within that. So from this perspective, we understand that you are, in a sense, dreaming your body, your mind, your personality, dreaming the life that you live, which includes the circumstances you find yourself in. This is all occurring within you. So, when you do not accept the circumstances of your life, when you resist your life, you are not accepting self. You are resisting self. And this is a perpetuation. It is a dynamic which will ensure the continuation of the conditions of your life which create the suffering. Because if suffering is a prominent feature of your life, then this repetitious pattern is, by definition of how existence works, perfection. It is a perfect state for you to be having the suffering, because it is part of the realization process, part of becoming awakened to the higher self, to the understanding that you are an individuation of the infinite love of the One, is for you to become aware of what is not you, so you can release it, and therefore making more translucent the lens through which you pass, so it becomes more pure in your presence of the true self, of the higher self. For this clearing to take place, for you to become a being which is realized in the physical experience, because you are the higher self, you are the energetic, you are the infinite being, the individuation of the love of the One. This is who you are. And your purpose is the One's purpose, which is to know thyself, to be in the physical experience, yet awakened to the understanding that you are the higher self, that you are the One. And through this realization, the One becomes flesh. The One becomes fully realized in the physical experience. And this is its primary yearning. There was only one. The One existed as a concept. And as there was only one, there was no contrast, there was no differentiation, there was not one thing which was not another thing. And so, experience wasn't possible. The One knew itself conceptually, but it yearned to know itself experientially. And through this yearning, it created the illusion of infinite individuation of itself. So now there was one thing that was not another thing. So there was the possibility of experience, because now there was differentiation, now there was contrast. Now the One could have an experience of itself through the illusion of separation. And so it can now, and is, going through the process of realizing itself, of knowing itself in the physical experience. To know itself experientially. As you are an individuation of the One, you are the One experiencing itself through the unique perspective of you. Therefore, you are the One, and your purpose is the One's purpose, to know thyself in the physical experience. So for you to know thyself in the physical experience, to be fully awakened that you are the higher self, then there needs to be a mechanism by which you can be continually enlightened, continually awakened, continually realized, continually expanded. For this to occur, for this mechanism to be present, then there needs to be some feedback of what is occurring. And so the mechanism that exists in the way that reality manifests into your experience is so that you have an experience which has been created by your state of beingness in the past. In the past, you hold a state of beingness, and that has a vibratory quality, an energetic signature, and it will bring to you new moments which are conducive to again feeling that same state of beingness. So if you are choosing suffering, then this is a misconceptualization of self, because you are not suffering, meaning that you are not composed of suffering. Suffering isn't part of your energetic matrix. It is mind stuff. It is a misconceptualization. It is a misunderstanding of the true essence of who you are. Because you are an individuation of the One. You are literally made from the One. And what is the One made from? In the vernacular of human emotion, the One is most accurately described as love. And the nuance is the derivatives of love: gratitude, peace, happiness, joy, bliss. As you are an individuation of the One, then you too are love, and these derivatives of love. This is who you are. And so when you are awakened to self, when you are experiencing the true self, there is no suffering. There is no despondency. There is no anger. There is no fear. There is no anything which isn't love and its derivatives. So, if you are holding suffering, if you are holding this negativity, then understand this is the blessing of how the manifestation process works. It is the gift to you so that you can have the awareness that you are not being self. You are misconstruing the true identity of who you are. You are not identifying as the true essence, as the individuation of the love of the One, this immortal, infinite, invulnerable being. You are not identifying as that, but instead you are identifying as something which can be harmed, as something which is finite, as something which can be affected by the circumstances of your life. But understand, you are an infinite being. You are immortal. You are invulnerable. And so the circumstances of your life cannot touch the true essence of who you are, cannot even come close to affecting the true essence of who you are, cannot diminish your love, cannot diminish your peace, your joy, your happiness, your gratitude, cannot touch them. There is a complete separation, because this true essence of who you are is untouchable. So the circumstances of your life are powerless to have an effect on this true essence of who you are. However, the circumstances of your life can pull you out of this higher self-realization. It can pull you into the mind, and the mind is a non-aware, organic, artificial intelligence. It does not have an awareness of the higher self, because it is not an aware device. It is an intellect. It is a logistical machine. So when you rely on the mind, when you identify with the mind, you will be misconstruing who you are. You'll be misconstruing the purpose of the experiences that you have. And you will fail to realize that when you have a circumstance which creates the suffering, it is actually a blessing. It is actually giving to you feedback data on who you have been in the past, so that you can understand, I have been being a misconstrued version of self, a misunderstanding of self, which is emanating this energetic quality which isn't truly me. And this has manifested circumstances which create this feelings which aren't me, which create feelings which are not love and its derivatives. And with this information, you can go, okay, I see. I am creating these circumstances which bring to me the suffering, and therefore the energetic state, my vibratory quality, is not representative of who I truly am. It is a misconstruing, it is a confusion, it is a misunderstanding. So, how can I calibrate that? How can I become more realized? How can I become more authentically the true essence of who I am? The eternal, immortal, invulnerable, higher self. This is how it is intended to be used. So when these moments come, instead of choosing to be despondent, choosing to be upset in any way, instead, break the cycle. Realize that life has brought to you the manifestation, because it is your manifestation, your mind, body, personality, your life that you live, these are your manifestations. However, understand that you are not just manifesting from this device, you are manifesting from a higher level, from the true essence of who you are. And this is just temporary. This is just a temporary asset collection that you have so that you can integrate into physicality and have the experience of being a physical being such that you can further the realization of the true essence of who you are in the physical experience. Because you are the one, and this is the one's purpose. The one through you is becoming more realized of itself in the physical experience. Because the one is you. You are the one, and you have been given the individuation, the individual sentience, such that you can go through this experience. But understand, you are, in a very real way, the one. You are the one experiencing itself through the unique perspective which is you. Because the one wishes to know itself to completion through all permutations of experience. Which means it is essential for the one to experience everything. Not just the good, but also the bad. Not just the blissful, but also the suffering. All of this is sacred. All of this is contributing to the unfoldment and to the realization of the one. For the one to become fully realized in the physical experience, to become fully understanding of itself, to know itself through experience. All of it is essential. All of it is a contribution. So even when you are suffering, understand that your suffering is contribution. It is adding to the expansion of the one as the one begins to know itself through the physical experience, to know itself experientially. And this process of knowing itself experientially, because the one is love and its derivatives. And so when the one has an experience of itself, a true experience of itself, is when it experiences love and the derivatives. So for you also, because you are the one is experiencing itself through you. And so when you experience love and its derivatives, then the one is experiencing itself. You are experiencing yourself. You are experiencing the one. You are being the one physicalized. So for you to arrive at this place where you can be love and its derivatives at all times, regardless of the circumstances of your life, then there must be a process of realization. There must be a process of discovery. There must be a process of shedding what is not you. So realizing that when you are holding an emotional state, when you're holding a vibratory quality, which is not love and its derivatives, it is not you, because it is not the one. And so you can say, I am not this. This choice I have made is not choosing the self, but is in choosing identification with the mind. It is choosing a misconceptualization of self. And so this is your opportunity to choose differently, to choose the self, to choose love and its derivatives. And when you are able to be in these circumstances that in the past have been a source of suffering, yet you are able to choose an emotional state, you are able to choose a vibratory quality, you are able to choose self, love and its derivatives, then this is the process of awakening. This is your ongoing realization of self, the true essence of the individuation of the one. And the misconceptualization of self is let go. Because when you choose differently, when the circumstances of your life remain the same, and yet instead of choosing to suffer, you choose to experience the self, you choose love and its derivatives, then you are shedding this misunderstanding of self. It has been swept away by greater realization of self. The true essence of who you are is less occluded, less opaque, and more translucent, more able to flow into the moment as pure presence, as the pure representation of the higher self, the energetic that you are. So, we understand that this can be difficult if the circumstances of your life are particularly traumatic or particularly hard, that this is a challenge. However, this is what you signed up for. When you chose to be born into this lifetime, you were born into it knowing there was going to be challenge, knowing that there will most likely be suffering, but also knowing that this suffering is the blessing which allows you to go through this process of breaking the cycle of this misconceptualization of self, of believing that you are the mind, of believing that you can be hurt, of believing that something that another person says can damage you, or believing that struggling to pay your bills is a diminishment of self, that is destroying you. To move beyond that is part of your awakening. To realize that even when people are being unkind to you, people are being unloving to you, you are being crushed by your debt, even still, as the infinite being, your center is where you choose it to be. Because there is no center other than the center that you choose. You are an infinite being. You have no borders. There is no point which is equidistant from everywhere else that could be described as the center. And so the center, your emotional quality, the vibratory state, your energetic signature, these are your choice. You determine your center. So from a practical standpoint, if you struggle, and if you say to us, this sounds wonderful, but how can I, under these circumstances, when my life is so difficult, when things are going so bad, how can I justify feeling good about this? How can I love this? It doesn't seem possible. To this, our answer is, always in every moment, when you understand that life is your manifestation, and life is bringing to you these opportunities for you to choose differently, for you to cast aside this conceptualization of self which isn't true, this belief that you can be damaged, this belief that you are vulnerable, this belief that you are finite. When you can cast that aside and become further realized and become further understanding and an embodiment of the higher self, of the one in the physical experience, and then you realize that every moment is a blessing. Because without this mechanism, this feedback, without this life bringing to you moments which are manifestations of your beingness in the past, so that you can see a reflection back from reality, who I have been being. Without this, there cannot be the process of realization. There cannot be the process of further expansion into the awareness of your higher self energetic, into the awareness that you are an individuation of the One, that you are in fact the One experiencing itself through the unique perspective which is you. This would not be possible without this feedback mechanism. The suffering is the catalyst to your awakening. So, it is a profound blessing. It is a gift from the One. It is a gift you have given to yourself. It is perfection. It is exactly the experience that you need to have the realization that you are being a misconstrued concept of self, that you are misunderstanding who you are, that you are unrealized of your true essence, of your divinity, of your infinity, your immortality, your invulnerability. And so this is the entry point. Love and its derivatives. This is what you are. And the easiest point to enter into this realization, to become part of this identity, this true understanding of self, to release the suffering, to accept the self, to accept the life that you are manifesting, to relinquish the suffering, is to be grateful. And through this gratitude, you can then become at peace. And then once you are at peace, in a state of gratitude, you can begin to choose happiness. And when you begin to choose happiness, and you allow the happiness to flourish, and you realize that the happiness is not connected to the circumstances of your life, but instead it is a choice. It is a center within your infinity which you are choosing to place yourself at, because you are a free being. You are free to choose your center. You are free to be how you wish to be. Then your happiness transforms into joy, and then joy into bliss, and then bliss into a state of perpetual love for all beings in your life, for all circumstances of your life, for all aspects of existing. There will be nothing but love. This is the stairway to your heaven. Begin with gratitude. And when you do this, this mechanism of feedback begins to feed back to you this new understanding of self, this expanded awareness, this new realization that you are the free being, that you are centered where you choose to be centered, that you are love and its derivatives. Because now that you are in the same circumstances, so to say, but yet you are choosing gratitude, and then following this stairway to your heaven, you are planting the seeds for the future moments, which when they come to you will be experienced as a feedback data of that state of being you were in the past. So when you were grateful, when you broke the cycle, and instead of going, why, and continuing the suffering, instead you went, I'm blessed and I'm grateful that this experience has given me the opportunity to realize that I am creating a moment which is conducive to suffering, because in the past I have chosen that vibratory quality. I have chosen this false identity, this vulnerable, weak being, this mind, body, personality, instead of having the awareness that I am my true essence is the higher self, the infinite, immortal, invulnerable individuation of the love of the One. And so I am grateful for this opportunity. And this vibratory quality, this energetic signature, this is planting the seeds for the future moments. And when those future moments come to you, they will be conducive to choosing gratitude again. Because always the experience that you have, the moment that you're in, it is neutral. It is without a energetic label other than the one that you give it. Because you are a free being, you choose your center. So even when an experience comes to you, and it may appear to other people to be a horrible experience, it is still not inherent in the experience. Only the judgment that you make, the choice that you have, where you decide to place your center, that is what gives it the energetic quality. And of course, it is your energetic quality, because you are manifesting your life. This is your life. And as you are now choosing to be grateful, planting the seeds, so when that moment comes to you, it will be conducive. Again, it will still be neutral, but it will be conducive to choosing gratitude. It will look like something where gratitude seems to be the most logical, emotional state for you to hold. It is something to be grateful for. And when you have this experience where you are grateful, then it's going to be easy for you to go, that pleases me. I am happy from this. And then your happiness is planting the seeds for future moments that when they come to you, they will be neutral, but they will be conducive to choosing happiness again, to placing your center in this place. And on, and on, and on, and on. And then what begins to happen is these circumstances which have been the source of your suffering, which have been the reason you have felt trapped, while you have felt you have no freedom, they will begin to transform, because it is your manifestation. Your life is you. This physicality, this mind, body, personality, this manifestation of the higher self that you are dreaming, it is not just this, but it is also this. You are dreaming all of it. And so as you change, it all changes, because it is all you. And so as the qualities of self become more reflective, as the qualities of the physicalized self, as this identity, the mind, the body, the personality, as they become more embodied with the understanding of the higher self, of the true essence of who you are, as they start to become more reflective of that, as you start to become more of the higher self in the physical experience, because you are more predominantly love than its derivatives, you start to become this melding where you are now the higher self in the physical experience. You are the true essence of self realized in the physical experience. You are the higher self experiencing itself in the physical experience. You are the one experiencing itself in the physical experience, because you are realized, because you have let go of this misconceptualization, this misunderstanding of self. Now you are free, understanding your freedom, and you are choosing to place your center where you want it to be. Then of course, your life will transform, because this apparatus and the life, they are the one thing. There is not separation. There cannot be change in this without being change in this. It cannot occur, because this and this are parts of the same manifestation. They are the same dream occurring within the higher self. So now that you have been choosing repetitiously to be centered in the understanding of the true essence of self, and you are choosing gratitude, and this gratitude has given way to happiness, and this happiness has given way to joy and peace and bliss and love, that now your life resembles, experiences, is a sequence of moments and events where it is most conducive to choose love and its derivatives, is most conducive to experience the true essence of self, is most conducive to be an awakened being in the physical experience, to be the higher self, physicalized. So, understand the mechanism, realize the purpose that you are here, and then utilize these understandings and begin with the easiest way to find your way out of this repetitious cycle of suffering, which makes you feel trapped. With gratitude, begin there. And underlying all of this, the foundation of which this is built on, is that you are already a free being. You are the most free. You are infinitely free. Because you are not this and this, but you are the infinite, immortal, invulnerable, energetic, the individuation of the love of the One. A being with no borders, and as such, with no geographical centre. And therefore, your centre is where you choose it to be. There is no greater freedom than this. This is the ultimate freedom. So we hope that this gives you solace. We hope that this gives you direction. And we hope that this is a roadmap for you to rapidly advance your self-mastery, your awakening, and so that you can begin living a life which is a manifestation of this understanding and an experience of your freedom in the physical experience that you live. We love you, and we recognize your journey is sacred. No matter where you are, no matter how you feel, it is a sacred journey. It is about discovery of self. It is an essential part of the process. It is what you signed up for when you came into this incarnation. It is perfection. Love it, live it, let go, and enjoy.